As you know, I have the privilege of speaking to a lot of companies over the course of any given week, and almost every company across all industries, whether it's healthcare. Last week it was a CPG company, it was also an energy company. Every single one of those companies are thinking about who they are from an ESG perspective, because they think about the fact that things are transitioning from having 3 constituencies now to 4. It used to be, from a corporate perspective, the 3 constituencies that you cared about were your shareholders, your customers, and your employees. Now there's a 4th constituency called community. They now realize that they have a responsibility to take care of some of society's ills. And they also know how important it is to recruiting this next generation of professionals. And those of us who are boomers, in many cases, whether it's now or whether it's 5 to 7 years from now, we will be out of the positions of power. And they will now have Xers who really want to identify with millennials, but because they're close to boomers and boomers are in charge, they're behaving like boomers. But as soon as the boomers are out, they're going to start acting like millennials, trust me, right? Because they're right there. Because everybody realizes that the millennials have done what we wanted to do as boomers. They exercise their voice. They exercise by voting with their feet.
Right.
You know, they are not shy about talking about what they want. And the good news for all of us is that there's more research out there today than there was 7 years ago, 10 years ago, that suggested that there was a trade-off between doing good and making money. And now the research is out there that you can actually make more money if you think about investing in things that are going to have what I like to call a multiplier effect.
Right.
And you now have resources available to you where you can get customized approach to your overall investing and actually make better than market returns, because there's so many opportunities, particularly in this country, where there are underserved markets, underserved people, where there are huge investment opportunities because of the inequity that already exists in the marketplace.
Right. Yeah, Morgan Stanley, for example, had some investors that were concerned about fires out in California.
Yes.
And what can we do to invest in companies that will find a way to help prevent that long term? Mm-hmm. So with the scarcity of resources and the complexities we have in this world, this is where people are just thinking, how do I make sure I have it for my family? And then how do I make sure we pass this on to future generations?
Mm-hmm. The technology has evolved so that it's made it a lot easier for money managers to be able to do that. But you know, I think the point that we're trying to underscore is that, again, you don't have to make a trade-off around the statement around what you care about and the returns that you're going to get in the overall market.
Right. And it's evolved over time, because there were years ago what you might say is, I'm concerned about something and I'm going to restrict my money manager from investing. So you could go to your portfolio and you could say, and you could tell your advisor, I do not want to invest in any company that is in firearms, because Sandy Hook bothered me, or Parkland really affected me, and you can screen that out. But I think it's evolved over time now that people are like, I need to have something more. And so we've seen this proliferation of mutual funds and ETFs that you can basically build out and tilt your portfolio and say, I want gender diversity, I want climate control, and other examples you can think of.
Yes, as you all know, the key word in our world today is community. And if you think about the companies on the West Coast, they've all grown into multi-billion-dollar companies around the word community, right? Whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Google, you name it, they had a community that they served. So what we've done is we've brought clients together who cared about cancer, for example. And we've had a speaker that talked about the greatest innovations in cancer and what some of the biotech companies are doing and some of the drugs that are on the horizon, what some of the larger pharmaceutical companies are doing and what they're likely to buy. And people have started investing around that topic. I think the opportunity to do those kinds of things, because you are with people who will create communities around those things that you are interested in, that can then also lead to investment opportunities as well.
Well, you clearly have a great passion around that. A lot of people at Morgan Stanley do. What words would you give to somebody who's like today is here and like, how do I develop my passion around of what I care about and things? Like how did you think about through that?
Yeah, I would say engage in these opportunities to be a part of a community around things that even you think you remotely care about. You know, it could be art, it could be education, it could be energy, it could be water. All the things that you hear about that are going to be issues for us 5 years from now, AI, it could be around artificial intelligence, what does that look like? Workforce development, workforce retraining. You know, what companies are doing that well? That's probably going to be a company that wins 10 years from now, because that's going to be a big deal that people are just starting to talk about. So being a part of these conversations and communities with institutions that are driving some of these, that I think will help you to educate yourself and help you to sort of distill what you're interested in now. If you don't have the capability of being able to do this on your own, then get with an institution that you know has that global footprint and has that research capability and has the ability to partner you up with other people. And I didn't say it had to be Morgan Stanley, but take advantage of these institutions that have invested in that capability. You don't have to do it on your own.